This tutorial explains how administrators at Seventh-day Adventist schools can add and set up staff for Data Rollup. We're going to start in your account. Assuming you're an administrator at the school, you should start in admin mode. Once there, click Setup and then go down to Security. Here's where you'll set up security settings for your staff. We recommend that you set this top menu to only people entered by admin so that you may add any users at your school. Some schools that have many users in a similar domain select anyone with email at, but please do not select the top one for security reasons. So once again, we recommend clicking the bottom one. On this screen, there's some additional options in regarding to staff logout periods, substitute teachers, and support staff seeing names. You can see the help guide for more information on these options. Once you have selected this, go to Setup and then Staff. This screen is where you provide all users at a school with permissions. We've already set some users up here. Clicking any user, you'll be taken to this screen where there's several pieces of information. We're going to start in the middle here. In the middle, you see the permissions which have been provided to this user. Typically, teachers have T and V permissions. However, administrators may have administrative permissions such as A permissions, which provide student information, S permissions for scheduling, G for grades, and other various permissions. You can customize the permissions of each user at a school based on their particular roles there. If there's only a single user at a school, we recommend providing them with all the permissions at that school. On the left-hand side, there's some general information, including name. Please note the display name. This field will be what is visible to students and parents. Make sure the email is correct, as well as the Adventist organization ID. Gender is optional. Scrolling to the right-hand side, we have some settings that apply to all teachers at a school. In general, for schools with multiple users, we recommend that few to none of these are selected. However, for smaller schools, you may allow them to choose some of these options. Note that changing this for one user applies to all users at the school. Please note that at no school should teachers or any users be allowed to create new courses. That's going to be something an administrator is going to do, so we recommend unchecking this at all schools. See our help guide for more information about these settings as well as the individual permissions. Clicking Done to return to this screen. Now we're going to discuss how to add new users to your school. There's two main methods to add staff to schools. The first is to manually add staff. This is best for schools with few users. To do so, on this screen, go to the top and click New User. Once there, type in their information. As well as their Adventist ID. Optionally, you can select male or female. Once you've provided this information, the next step is to provide the permissions for this user based on the role at the school. Assuming they're just a teacher, once again select T and V permissions. Once you've selected them for this information, click Send a Link Now for user to sign up. Once you click Done up at the top right corner, that's going to send this user an email, at which point they can set up their username and password and access their account. The other option for adding staff is to import staff from a spreadsheet, which is best for large schools with many users. To do so, first you're going to create a spreadsheet in Excel. Here's an example of what it may look like. As you can see, the columns include the Adventist ID, user full name. It can also be entered as two columns with first and last name, email address, and gender. The order of the columns don't matter. However, mandatory fields include the Adventist ID, user full name, and email address. The gender is an optional field. So you can create this spreadsheet for all the staff at your school. Once you've created an Excel, you need to save it. When you go to save, make sure that you save as type CSV, comma delimited. That's a particular file type that's best for importing into Jupyter. Once you've saved this file locally, it's just a matter of importing this into Jupyter. In Jupyter, on this screen, now we are on the Setup Staff screen. We're going to go to Setup, Import, Export. Once there, on the left-hand side, select Import Staff. Choose Upload File from this computer, and then select File. Select the CSV file that we just created, and then Open. You'll then be taken to this screen. This is where you match the data on the spreadsheet into the data fields in Jupyter. So in this case, you'll see the Adventist IDs here. Click, select the ID, repeat for the name, email address, and optionally gender. Once done, select one of these top two options. If you're the first user adding users to the school, either one works. Once selected, you can go up to the top right corner and click Next. It's going to tell you the number of staff which has been imported. Click Import, and then Set Up Staff to return to this screen. Now you're going to see all the staff that were on the file added to your school at once. One thing to note that the import does not provide permissions. So once you've added them, make sure you click each user and then click the appropriate permissions for that user. Repeat the process for all users, and then you are complete in adding staff. Once staff have been added, the next step is to link them to the fields in Data Rollup. To do so, on this screen, once again, Setup, Staff, select Data Rollup. You'll be taken to this screen with a menu. Select any user from this menu, and you'll be taken to this screen. There are several fields to add the information for Data Rollup, such as certification, position, as well as full-time equivalent. If you need specific help on full-time equivalent, click this button, which will take you to a screen that the NAD has set up as far as definitions of full-time equivalents. Below you can add contact information, as well as if they are an Adventist, the church at which they attend. Repeat this process for all the users at your school. For any users that you would like to exclude from Data Rollup, simply click this button at the top and they will be excluded. Once you've provided all the Data Rollup information, you can click Done, and then you'll return to this screen. Now it's a matter of inviting users to access their Jupyter account. Note this status column. All the users at the top that have a check mark, that means they've already logged into their Jupyter account. However, many have temp written beside them. These are going to be all the users that were just added via import, or if it's the first time the school has been accessed, all your users will have temp. You can invite all the users to access their Jupyter accounts at one time whenever you're ready. Some schools choose to set up classes first, or you can add the users and then set up classes later. To invite them all to Jupyter, go to the top and click Send Links. That's going to send an email to any user with temp under their in the status column. Once they receive the email, they'll click a link, create their username and password, and be able to access their account. Click Send, and it will send them out to all users, so you don't have to repeat for each user who has not accessed their account yet. That covers the basics of setting up staff for Adventist schools. For further assistance, please refer to the Jupyter Quick Start Guide, which is a Word document, your conference Jupyter specialists, or you can contact Jupyter support at support@jupitered.com, or by clicking Help on any screen in Jupyter.